Oh wait, sorry guys. So what I was talking about was COVID and how they can change genes so rapidly. So the reason why it's so hard to develop a vaccine for COVID, influenza and stuff like that is because, remember when we talked about yesterday, on the actual coronavirus virus, it's called the corona, the capsids outside of the virus itself. So those little spicules that are coming out from that capsid, those change very rapidly. Bacteria, it's kind of the same way. It's not the capsid that we're dealing with because bacteria don't have capsids. But when bacteria interact with each other, they can just go around and pick up new genes. It's kind of cool because imagine like if you could do that. Like you could just be walking around, find a gene lying on the floor, pick it up, and then you have a new ability. Like essentially you have a new superpower. It's kind of like Ben 10 where he has a little watch and he can twist it to whatever monster he wants to turn into and then fight bad guys. Bacteria are the same way, except instead of fighting bad guys, sometimes it's fighting us and trying to kill us. So that's where we have to figure out how to fight that. So good bacteria. There is something in your body called the microbiome. It's just all those bacteria that live inside of you. Could potentially refer to other things beside bacteria. It could refer to like viruses. It could refer to protists, like protozoa and chromis, but probably protozoa is going to be in your body, probably not chromis. And all of the things that help your body work and function. So we rely on bacteria. It's kind of been said before that you don't decide what you like to eat. Actually, it's your microbiome in your gut that makes you want to eat certain foods. And that's probably a stretch. But your bacteria definitely influence what you crave. So if, say, you're craving potato chips one day, it's entirely possible that you are being influenced by the bacteria in your gut that want the potato chips. It's not necessarily that they control you, although some scientists would say that, but they probably do influence your psychology to a point. The microbiota are the specific bacteria of a microbiome. Diet helps determine the type of bacteria in your digestive tract, and so that's probably why they have so much ability to control or influence what you want to eat. And then probiotics are microbial cultures that are ingestible and encourage beneficial bacterial growth, whereas opportunistic pathogens are organisms that might not cause disease under normal conditions, but are doing so when they can seize the chance. Decomposers are bacteria that get their energy from dead and decaying matter, and cyanobacteria are autotrophic bacteria that get their energy from photosynthesis, and those are just other two examples of good bacteria. Now going back to the opportunistic pathogens, one example would be E. coli. So E. coli is a good bacteria, and you might not think that, but E. coli is inside each and every one of you right now. It's in your intestines. It's in your small intestine. And what it's doing is it's breaking down the really already digested food and allowing more of that food that's been already digested for you to get the nutrients from that, more nutrients. In chickens, it's really common, in poultry, because they have something called the ceca. And we'll talk about that when we get to birds. But these ceca are two projections from the small intestine, and they go into something called hindgut fermentation, and it's caused mainly by E. coli. So if you're ever dissecting a chicken in a poultry science class in the future, as I know you all will, your professors will tell you not to cut open the ceca because of how bad it will stink, because of how much E. coli it has in it. And that's why the fact that chickens are hindgut fermenters with a lot of E. coli in the ceca is why you can get E. coli poisoning so bad from chicken and other poultry. Pigs are also hindgut fermenters, but it's just easier to split open the carcass without busting the intestines because it's a bigger animal, and you're not having to work through a small space like on a chicken or on a quail or on a duck. Turkeys are big enough too to where you probably don't have to worry about it. That's why you can't have medium rare chicken. Okay, bad bacteria. A pathogen is a substance that can cause disease or that causes diseases. Vectors are organisms that carry pathogens, and some bacteria are harmful in one condition and helpful in another, just like E. coli, which we already talked about. Cyanobacteria typically grow in bodies of water. They're almost like algae, but they're not. They perform photosynthesis, and actually cyanobacteria, or what evolutionists think, got swallowed by some other cell, and now they have become chloroplasts, which is kind of weird because nothing swallows something and then it just starts living inside of them. They usually die. But anyway, so another one is Serratia marcescens, which is a nuisance. It's a pink bacteria that grows in showers and sinks. Going back to cyanobacteria, they can use up so much oxygen that they end up killing off fish, and that's what's a problem with. Okay, so now what I want you guys to do is to go to page 221, read that as a class, and then perform section review 12A, questions 1 through 7. All right, thank you. Bye.